Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast. We're doing another in-person interview, this time not necessarily at a hotel lobby. It's actually in the Make Your Mark Design headquarters, which is a little more comfortable, actually, a little easier to kind of...
Not as loud either.
Not as loud, yeah. It was disturbingly loud in that hotel lobby. But nonetheless, super excited to have Kaitlyn Lane here with us. We actually met you at the Graphics Pro Expo show last year in Denver.
Correct.
Is that correct?
It's been about a year.
Yeah, it's about this time last year when you messaged us on Instagram and you're like, I'd love to meet you guys. And we were like, holy crap, someone listens to our show, which was legitimately the first reaction I think that we had. Like, oh yeah, this is awesome. We want to meet someone who actually is listening to the show, which is awesome. So what I'm going to do, Kaitlyn, is make you feel uncomfortable and talk about you like you're not here and read your intro that you gave us on the Google form. But Kait started in the print and production industry back in March of 2015, and this is 8 years of exploration and advancement as a self-proclaimed custom collaborative artist, which is a great phrase.
I like
great
that.
term.
Thank you.
Her journey started at a unique apparel shop and led Kait towards many awesome production shop settings, including an apprenticeship as a bench jeweler production at a shop specializing in paper goods, a sign shop, and now rooted at an awards and trophy shop. So Kaitlyn Lane, thank you so much for taking time and coming on the show. I know you're local, but it means a lot that you took time out of your schedule even just to come here in person and hang with us. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for letting me reach out and being willing to talk with me. I definitely nerd out anytime you guys post a new episode and find your content very helpful and inspiring. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Well, it's really, it's awesome to hear.
That's cool.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember meeting you at the trade show, and we were all kind of huddled around, and Tate was there as well. And it was during kind of their happy hour type time. And so we were all drinking a beer. And so here we are again, drinking a beer.
Cheers.
And
pro tip for anyone that goes to a trade show that we might be at, if there is a happy hour, we will probably be there. 100%. So if you want to meet us at a trade show, and we did it in Long Beach. We had every trade show. We find the happy hours.
We find those happy hours. But I do remember meeting you, and I was like, man, this girl, she knows what she's talking about. You know, I could tell that you had all that experience in the print industry because you were asking really, really like intelligent questions and detailed questions. You were the one that asked us about like, what does a production manager do? You guys should do a show on that. And then we had Tate on because he's kind of our production manager, and he went through, kind of his job description and all of that as a result of the conversation we had. But I just remember like how knowledgeable you were about the print industry. And even, before we actually all sat down here, I gave you a tour of our shop, and you were again asking really intelligent questions and, kind of again, nerding out about all of our, the things that we do and the things that you do. And so I'm genuinely excited about, this interview and just hearing a little bit more, sharing with, our listeners kind of some of the things you do, as well as like how you got to where you are. So let's go ahead and just start. Why don't you just tell us kind of like how you got into printing in general, and then like where that's taken you and getting us up to date to today.
So I was working retail most of my working career, and I noticed a job posting for a place called Big Frog Custom T-Shirts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is still probably my most favorite job I've ever had in my whole life. It was a very unique setup where you get to be the salesperson. So you get to educate the guest about what printing technique and what medium is best for their outcome. So it was a t-shirt shop mostly.
Yeah.
And
then tell us about like what it is, because I've been to a custom or a Big Frog before.
We've kind of helped supplement a Big Frog too in the past with some embroidery stuff.
As soon as you walk in, you're like, welcome to Big Frog, and you just take them around and show them the different printing techniques, and then you get a one-on-one consultation with the designer. So it's 15 minutes for free, which was usually plenty of time to execute basic ideas for custom goods. So we would help with like random birthday shirts. I really liked doing the memorial shirts. Those were very sad, but it was a really great way to ask people personal questions and make a tribute for their loved ones. And then, of course, we would do things for schools and businesses. We offered in-house direct-to-garment. We did some vinyl decorating, so with a plotter and a heat press. And then we outsourced embroidery and screen printing for really large orders.
Right.
It was really cool.
So basically it's a retail custom t-shirt and or other goods
we did like
place.
mouse pads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the coolest part working there was that you got to work with the customer from start to finish. So like not only was I designing and setting up their order, I was also printing and finishing off and seeing them pick it up with a smile on their face, like from start to finish. Your hand got to be in the whole thing. It was so cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that like, and we'll get back to your story, but that's one of the things like I've always wanted to do is like have a shop like that. I've always thought, I want to go up to Estes Park and open up a shop on the strip there and do actual DTG, and so, because right now you go up there and it's like, I want, that design 142 on this shirt. And it's custom transfers. Right. I'm like, well, what if you could do, I want that design, but I want it with, my name on it or my birthday or whatever. And I could still do that because that doesn't exist up there, but through Custom Frog or a Big Frog, that was.
Or with direct to garment with the digital printing it just makes it more accessible for that kind of business model. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
I agree. That would be the ultimate to have a shop like that.
Yes. So if I ever do that, you're my first call.
Sounds great.
As a matter of fact, I did actually call her. I was like, hey, when we had a position open last year, at some point, I was like, hey, come work for me. And she was like, yeah, you are really far away. So that didn't work out. And I think you really like where you're at now, which gets us back to your story. So after Big Frog, what happened there?
After Big Frog, I was so inspired and just wanting to learn and grow. So I actually talked with a customer, and they were a bench jeweler for like Signet Jewelers, so like Jared, the Gallery of Jeweler, and K Jewelers. And so she was telling me about her job there, and it just sounded really cool. So I took a break from Big Frog and I went and was a jeweler apprentice for a little bit. And it was a lot of fun, but it just apprenticeship, the wage just wasn't livable, so it didn't last long.
Sure.
But I got to use a diamond bit engraver when I was there, which was really cool. So that was my first introduction to like an engraver. And then I was able to view CAD software for like custom designing jewelry. And so that just like opened my mind even more, like, oh my gosh, like there's so many possibilities and so many avenues that creativeness can take you. I had no idea that any of this was even a thing until I had that first job at the t-shirt shop. So yeah.
So what happened after that?
I went back to Big Frog, and I was there for quite a while. And then this is like where it gets kind of weird. I got a job for my ex-sister-in-law at an auto glass shop, and it just didn't quite work out. So I went to Crown Trophy after that. And and I was only there for a short amount of time, and I met my boyfriend Hector, and then didn't want to work in the same place as him. So, so then
Don't let him know that.
Pro tips.
No,
It's
he
not
knows.
like-
I keep it real.
It's not like he's on the other side of the camera.
And it's not like he's right over
He's
there.
not right here. So
So then I went and worked at a paper shop. It was called
Dunder Mifflin.
that would be sweet.
I wouldn't have though. My
That-
God, could you imagine?
Only if Michael Scott was my boss, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're such a goober, man.
Yeah, I think this complete rabbit trail. And if I say this, anyway, I think it's a mixed bag because we all love Michael Scott, but I think working for him would
it'd
be
be
one of the most
Exactly.
infuriating experiences of your life. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
anyway, short rabbit trail. So you went, you paper shop. What was it called?
Print Connection, which
Okay.
he recently sold it. And my boss there, his name was Troy. Just a shout out. He was so cool. But COVID hit and they laid me off. So
Yeah.
then I worked at Keen Supers for a little bit because I didn't want to do unemployment. And then
Yeah.
found a job at Fast Signs. And then I started
Oh,
working
okay.
there for about a year.
How was that? I mean, that's kind of like the corporate version of signage, and or I don't know. It just has always seemed to me like. I mean, it's obviously a franchise.
It's the McDonald's of the sign
yeah,
industry.
it's kind of the McDonald's. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
I mean,
Did it
it's
feel like that, or
It's a nationwide franchise
Right.
where a lot of franchises that I've been a part of have been it's a worldwide franchise. And other franchises I've worked for were nationwide. So Fast Signs was incredible. I really liked it, and I had great shop owners.
Nice.
And I learned a lot during that time, and I miss it all the time. So being able, where I am now, I get to do a little bit of signage, which
Yeah.
is great. But I can't deny that I miss being in just a strictly only sign shop. But I said that about the t-shirt shop too. Like I just love it all, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the intro, I'm assuming after that, did you find yourself back at Crown Trophy?
Correct.
Is that okay?
Yep.
So in your intro, you used a word that it's pretty meaningful. It carries some weight when you said you're rooted at an awards and trophy shop. What does that? Is it like now you're just like you found the thing that you love to do, and is it a relational thing? Is the reason why you're now rooted in that spot, or what makes that kind of different from the other jobs that you've had?
It's definitely the people and the family that own the shop.
Okay.
They take care of me, and there's a lot of flexibility because I do have a 7-year-old daughter.
Okay.
So I mean, even for today to come hang out with you guys and drive across town, I was just like, hey, I'm out of here. I'm
Yeah.
going to go do this podcast, and
That's
I'll see
cool.
you guys later. And they're just like, go for it.
Wow.
And yeah, so just really flexible.
Sure,
and and also just a lot of trust. I feel like I've been in other environments where I didn't feel trusted because maybe they just wanted to like helicopter over you and just like know every little thing. But at this shop, like I can do what needs to be done. And I was telling you about the epilogue lasers. We have 3 of those. If something goes wrong with them, I'm calling tech support and I'm swapping out the parts. I'm fixing those
Yeah.
machines. And I have that trust from the owners, and that just feels great because I can go in every day and just do my thing.
Yeah, you just feel empowered to be able to do stuff because they trust you, as opposed to feeling like you're going to get chastised for doing something that you genuinely is in the best interest of the company. But if there's not that trust equity there, it can get pretty tricky.
Exactly.
For sure.
So I feel rooted.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
what took you were at Crown Trophy, then you left because you didn't want to work in the same place as Hector.
Yeah.
And then you went back. Did Hector quit?
No, Hector is still with Crown Trophy. He's at our tech center location.
Yeah.
And I went back because they asked if I wanted to work with them. And it was really flattering. And I totally forgot. I was actually working 2 jobs for a little bit. I was working at an embroidery shop in the evening and working at Fast Signs. And it's just I wasn't making a livable wage. And the owners, it just wasn't a conversation that I think maybe they just doubted my skill level. And
Sure.
so that ultimately left me not feeling appreciated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us a little bit about Crown Trophy, because we were talking about this before we pressed record, how just kind of the trophy and award part of print on demand is something that neither Travis or I have really ever ventured into. So talk us, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it, and before people go like, oh, it's not print on demand. It actually is. It's exactly what print on demand is.
It's just not the
award,
e-commerce part.
Yeah.
Right.
That award doesn't exist until it is ordered and paid for.
Right.
And then you put the name and the date or whatever on it. And for the e-commerce side, I have seen some of these awards and plaques and things like that. They are available like on Amazon and I believe even Etsy. And I mean, you can go online and do this too. So it's very in that realm of print on demand. I mean, traditionally it has been, a local shop that does it, like a Crown Trophy. The actual facility we're sitting in right now, when we rented it, the previous tenant was called Morgan's Awards. And that's all they did was trophies, and they had laser machines. And so when we brought our lasers in, they already had the exhaust and everything ready. We just plugged right in. And so, I mean, yes, you think of them as kind of a, neighborhood type place. And that sounds like that's what Crown Trophy is. It's a franchise all over the country. Do you know how many states it's in?
I wish I would have looked that up beforehand, but they're all over.
Josiah will find out. You can just keep talking, cool. And he'll just chime in at some point. He's my own personal Google.
Yeah,
it's fantastic to have that tool at our fingertips.
It is.
It's really cool. It is that it's rooted in the community. I like that word "rooted" because it's very impactful to the customers and clients that do come in. They rely. I mean, we're not saving lives or anything, but we're making things that are impactful to whatever it may be. If they have a big banquet to do recognition for, their tenured employees or accomplishments that they've made, or, maybe a mom wants to get like custom gifts for her coach, like some tumblers, like stuff like that. But to answer your question a little better, I think it is definitely he gave me a note and it distracted me. Oh. So it does produce
dang it, Hector.
It's important for you guys to know that custom goods do bring happiness to people.
Yeah.
And they really tie things together. Everyone needs wayfinding signage. I feel like I kind of derailed a little bit, but if you want to bring it back.
41 states is the
41
answer.
states. Okay.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
So what can somebody go into Crown Trophy and get? Like what do you do there? What do you do there?
Okay. So you can go into Crown Trophy and order. Let's say you have an awesome photo of yourself and you're wanting to put up this like awesome tribute to yourself in your own living room, and you want it to be personalized, engraved with a little plate, like the best man ever, like right underneath it. You can get a personalized plate. Well. Yeah.
Did you check Travis's Amazon wish list before you came on the show? Or
I'm thinking of White Chicks when he wants to go on a date with the reporter, and he goes and he pretends that one guy's house. Oh, he pretends that one guy's house is his. Yeah. And there's like
the Terry Crews.
Yeah. And there's like yeah. So you could do something like that and put a personalized plate underneath, and then you could come in and make a custom award. So like I met this lady once, and her family had an inside joke about Crocs. So she brought in like a baby Croc, and we like spray painted it gold and mounted it on the trophy. And
wow.
So just fun stuff awesome. Like
so
that.
That begs the question. What's the weirdest thing you've ever had to make an award for?
I can't really think of anything super weird, but like I've seen people like mount like glass pieces for like smoking.
Oh, okay.
We've used crutches. Someone like stringed like a chain, and then we hung a plate off of the chain, and
oh wow.
Someone brought an old spittoon. I think that's how you say it. Where you spit into it. Yeah. Like pretty much anything can be an award if if
there's
you want.
meaning behind it. Yeah. I like, my mind is just going crazy. It's like, how do you even price something like that?
Yeah.
Here, I would like you to take this beer can and put it on the top of a trophy, please.
Yeah.
How much will that be?
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that is it just all over the board and every piece is custom priced, or do you have kind of a good feel for something? I know that's going to take about this long, and so therefore it kind of falls in this pricing bracket.
So if you're getting like a column trophy, we have our website, crowntrophy.com, and then you'll find your local crown trophy. And then you can just choose from like, column trophies are the ones you think of for like a soccer team or something.
Right.
Karate Kid, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? The Valley?
All Valley Karate
Yeah,
Championship.
that's right. Okay.
We love Cobra
Cobra
Kai.
Kai, yeah, last
We're always
season
quiet.
coming up this week, or not this week, this year, last season. So
Yeah.
sad day.
It's so dramatic, that show. Like every time I'm like, why are they acting like this? It's so ridiculous.
It's like
Because they're high school kids.
Yeah, I've coined Cobra Kai as Full House meets like Bruce Lee or whatever, like karate. Yeah. It's very Full House acting.
Yes, it
the
is.
entire time.
It's yes, we digress, but it's really bad.
It's like a soap opera with kung fu. Like it's so dramatic.
And we love it.
So bad, but
like,
I'll watch.
I have a good reason for loving it. And matter of fact,
yeah, we're wearing a parody. Yeah, our parody shirt that we have here.
The podcast Cobra Kai parody shirt,
which I know is on your guys' store.
That's
so
right.
You guys could go get that.
It is for sure. PrinOnDemandCast.com/shop.
Shameless promotion.
Shameless.
We did not
really
mean to do that, as far as you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we totally derailed
again.
So let's let's get back.
It's my
to
fault again.
That's okay. That's all right. Let's get back to some of the things that you wanted to talk about. So, in Crown Trophy, obviously trophies and it looks like you've been doing some UV, which kind of brings us to the next.
We do like wide format too.
Oh, wide format.
Wow.
Okay.
So like
Look
this is hand cut. So it, like if you saw it up close, it's like pretty rough.
Sure.
It's rough, but people will still pay for it. So
Yeah.
That's
That's
just
awesome.
a little. It's coroplast, so that's the substrate. It's like yard sign pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you can. I mean, I didn't do the best kickstand to be truthful. Like I had a lady one time, her family didn't live in town for the holiday, so she, her mom sent her a cardboard cutout of each family member that she could put around like the dinner table. And
Oh wow!
that was really
it
cute.
life size?
I mean, pretty much. Like we did like probably like 17 inches. So
Yeah.
that's like a torso.
And then she just like set it there in their place
Can
setting.
you do
Yeah.
life size?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Offline, I have a question. I have a project in mind.
Okay. And if you guys still want to do the championship belt, you guys can produce it in house since you have all the equipment. Because I remember you guys asking about that. You should still totally do that.
That's cool. So you do championship belts for people and
championship rings.
Wow.
Like just
That's
the UV
super
printer is my
cool.
favorite because you can let's say you're doing I actually have content on my Instagram that you could see, and my TikTok, but the championship rings, like let's say you do a gold background and then you UV print it, but you don't do the white ink, then anything white will show up gold in your artwork, and it just like adds really cool contrast.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's
That's awesome.
it's so pretty. I love doing that. That's like my favorite trick with the UV is like skipping out on that empty space.
Yeah.
So let's actually jump into there. What are some of the machines you've operated in your history of printing? And then, but you got to dumb it down because like some of the machines you've already talked about, I'm like, I don't know what that does. So, like tell us what those things do as well as, and maybe an application that you've used it for.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to start, I'm going to work my way backwards. Currently, I get to use Epilogue laser engravers. I have not had the chance to use too many other type of engravers, but I do really like Epilogue. They are very user-friendly. Yeah. And you can, the ones we have, you can't engrave into metal because, of course, laser lights reflect off of it. So we also have a scratch engraver, which is like 20 years old, and it's super cool. It has like a really old computer linked up to it, but it uses different bits. This is a diamond bit, and it can scratch directly into the metal. And then we also use heat presses, so we can, we use the heat presses mostly for sublimation, but we do a little bit of apparel as well. The hat I'm wearing, we have a hat heat press. And this was done with our wide format printer. And it just can print colored ink, which it's not like the best finish, but if someone doesn't know, like if they're not a professional, they might be like, they wouldn't even know, like it looks cool.
Yeah.
And supposedly they hold up really well in the wash if it's on a shirt too. So a wide format printer is just a really large printer that you load like a big roll of media, and you can print like banners and signs, and that's how I printed this. And then I just like use a squeegee to put it on here, and then I hand cut it out.
Okay. Because I know some people use that and they'll UV those.
Or flatbed.
Yeah, like a flatbed.
Yeah, I got to use one of those too. Or we don't have that at my current shop, but those flatbed UV printers, the really big ones, are really cool. Especially if they're a newer piece of equipment. Like I used an old HP one, and that thing was kind of funky, but it still worked. I've used a sandblaster, which is a great way to, after you laser engrave specifically on like glass or marble, you can just kind of clean out the fractures that the laser leaves behind in the glass, and it leaves a cleaner finish. Used a router, a CNC router. That one was really, really cool. It was 20 years old also, and this was at a different shop. I've used even a bucket truck for installations. That was cool. There's some other stuff too. I've used like a saran wrap heat conveyor belt, so that way like when you print like let's say like a huge stack of like pamphlets, you can like put them in the correct quantity and then like saran wrap it closed, so it has like
like packaging.
Exactly, yeah. Okay. Packaging equipment. I've used a coil machine to like coil books. And then I don't know. I think there's more too, but we don't have to keep going.
So I mean, out of all of those machines and ways you've been able to decorate, what would you say if you had to give us like the top 3 of your favorite printing techniques that you've come across, you've been able to do? What would those 3 be? I
would say a CNC router, laser engraver, and direct to garment for sure.
Nice. Those are good answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a friend who does a lot of CNC.
Just amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's actually my wife's
it's your uncle-in-law.
It is technically my uncle-in-law, which is weird because we're only a year apart in age. We have the exact same birthday, but or just a year apart. But yeah, he does a lot of incredible stuff with CNC. Yeah. Just like the woodworking stuff that he's able to produce is killer stuff. So it's a really cool application that I know nothing about, but
does
it's
phenomenal.
Does he do
it for fun, or
it's more for fun?
Yeah, it's kind of a hobby. He'll take orders over Facebook, or I've tried for the life of me to convince him to open up an Etsy shop and sell custom, and he just won't do it for whatever reason. He'll never hear this podcast, but Zach, you need to do it.
That's right.
He just won't. I think it's a time thing, really. He's got 2 kids and a full-time job, and so he has the CNC stuff in his garage. But all of that to say, CNC is incredible application. They can do some really cool stuff. I got to make
ADA signage, which was so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite way to use the CNC router when I worked at Fast Signs, was producing the ADA signs.
Yeah, they've got some you can use UV to do ADA signs because you can use clear ink. And so you can build up, and you can pass over multiple times and do the braille.
Just got to make sure you got the right depth, and it's 8, and then it passes. That's for sure. But you do have to have, technically, you have to have applique letters as well. So not only does the braille have to be up, but the letters and the graphic have to be off of the surface.
Off the surface,
So that's where it might come in handy to have a UV printer and a laser engraver, and then put them together, or a router.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we've been talking about all these different printing techniques. You also, kind of on the side, or I don't know, you have what's called Kait's collabs. And that is kind of your consulting business. Is that fair to say? Or is it, because I know you even reached out, you've reached out to me and said, hey, I'm available after hours if you need, you have some extra production work. And I'm assuming that's tied in with Kait Collabs, but I don't think that's all you do with that. Can you tell us a little bit about, what started that and like what it's become?
Of course. I don't think it's become anything quite yet. It's becoming. I am kind of all over the place with it. It's like just like a dream. Like I think when we work in the print industry, we have this idea of like, oh, I could do that. I could run my own shop. And so it got me thinking, all the shops I have worked in, I've noticed that you need extra hands sometimes.
Yeah.
And so you call your mom or your cousin or someone you know that can come in and is capable to kind of help finish up, you know, maybe a project that has a tight deadline. So I was thinking that maybe it would be cool if Kait's Collabs is like, you know, I'm the printer's printer. I'm the printer's production person. I'm the printer's designer. Like I am just that, and it won't just be me one day. Like it'll be a team, and we go out and we just service the community. Maybe it's nationwide even, and we just go out and maybe we even get to a point where we're servicing machines.
Sure.
Just all around, just making sure that we're helping other printers. That's the goal. Like I am just so passionate about it, and I just want everyone to succeed. And people get kind of particular about that. They're like, oh, I don't want you taking my client. But the truth is, your client is also the person that's printing down the street's client. They're not just working with you, they're working with them too.
Yeah.
So why not just all help each other? That kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's kind of like the term that I can think of was kind of like a freelance. Like you're basically
a contractor.
Like print on demand for hire.
Correct,
Worker, you know, hitman, basically for hire, just to go and execute whatever project or job someone would need to. I mean, we've talked a lot about, on the show, we talked a lot about virtual assistants and VAs and the functionality they provide. It sounds like what you're envisioning for Kait's Collabs would be kind of like a VA type of company, but it would be actually hands on deck. Like you could have people that would eventually you could send out and say, hey, it's kind of like a workforce type job. Like, hey, we have a job today. Come check the boards. And if you want to go work for Make Your Mark Design today, they've got some fourth quarter help that they need.
Exactly.
You know, that kind of is kind of the overarching vision. Okay.
And then this right here, Authenticate Easy, it's one of my colleagues and also somewhat of a client. I've been working with him for a few years, and he just has his own like apparel company. And it's just the vibe of AAE is really cool. So he has a website and social media and all that. So he has a Cricut. We just cut everything on a Cricut, and then we order heat transfers and heat press, and then he does some embroidery and stuff like that too. So that's part of what inspired me to do Kait's Collabs, is him reaching out and wanting to work with me because we had a relationship from another print shop I worked at. He was a customer.
Yeah.
And then I have a client where I help her with logos and website and all that kind of stuff. And then I also help out after hours at a couple shops too. So.
Have you ever thought about like opening up an Etsy shop and just doing some cool products because you got access to all the machines? I mean, you could probably come up with some pretty unique things like that.
I've thought about it, and you guys inspire that for sure. You guys give a lot of real helpful information, so it makes it feel like something I could do. It's just it's hard to find time to like really invest in yourself, to be honest. It's hard to do that sometimes. Yeah.
And it sounds like, I mean, you've got a lot of irons on the fire, obviously, and priorities, have to take priority. Yep, that's not
profound.
Yeah. But I mean, so we just have to decide where we want to spend our time for sure. There's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So,
so in some, Kait's Collabs is not really anything yet. It's just like a dream, and I'm trying to share it.
Yeah. And obviously, we're going to give you an opportunity at the end to kind of share, where people can connect with you and your Instagram and all that stuff, and just follow the journey and see what Kait's Collabs becomes over time, which is, I mean, I follow you, so because I want to see that. So you also talked about there are, believe it or not, she listens to different podcasts other than the Print on Demand cast, and so she's got some other ones that she wanted to throw out there as and so in the spirit of collaboration.
No, exactly. I'm not coming here just me, and then you guys, yes, collaboration is everything to me. But some inspiring podcasts, honestly, any podcast that has to do with mental health, because I just think it really, I don't have one specifically, but just that genre of podcasts are really great. I listened to this one called Windowsill Chats, and it's with Margot Tanto, and she just brings on different artists and interviews them. And it's so beautiful and cool. And then I love the Graphics Pro podcast. I wish they would post more episodes, and they're very short, but they're so good. They're perfect when they do release them.
Yeah.
And then I really like Shirt Show too. That one is really cool.
Yeah.
Listen to that one on Mondays. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's long too. Isn't it
I
like
know,
it's like
but I
3
love-
hours
So
long
long.
every time?
I know, I love it though. I totally just listen to the whole thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
And of
awesome.
course,
And then the Print on
Yeah, of
Demand
course.
cast.
I mean-
I love the Print on Demand
let me just
cast.
throw you this softball real quick.
Yeah.
You're
Love
like,
it.
don't forget about us. Reason
No.
we're here. This is the coolest ever.
That's cool. Well, before we get into the magic questions, should we do our favorite segment?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
She did it herself. The live one.
You should
And I
still
didn't-
slide
I
it
didn't
in.
have, no, it's too late. I'm not cutting that out at all. Because I've had to riff bumpers before when we do in person. So you took my job. Thank you. So you're the guest, and you said you have one because you came prepared, which you probably are one of the first guests that's come prepared with the dad joke. Now that we tell everybody, and everyone's like, "Oh crap, I needed to bring that." It's like, yeah, dude, come on. Do you not listen to the show?
Yeah,
Probably
your
not.
guys'
But-
episode with Alex where you had to like hunt it down from her. Like
yeah,
in
multiple
person,
days in
and then-
person, and then we have another.
you had to like pause it. and
Yeah, we have
Her episode
another.
was great, by the way.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
Yeah,
She
I
was a
loved
lot of
that
fun.
one.
Yeah, she's great. I would imagine someone that's working in production or has the job history that you do in this industry. Her episode would be particularly fascinating just because of everything she does.
You know what she's gonna love? She's gonna love next week's episode.
True.
Which will be an older episode to the people that are actually listening, because this is going to post in a few weeks.
Yes.
But yeah, with Lynn Burkhart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Her story is pretty
amazing.
fascinating.
And our listeners probably already heard this, but yeah, you'll really enjoy her episode.
Yeah. And another guest that we had to hunt down a dad joke from, but it wasn't her, it was her employee that was at the trade show that we asked for a dad joke. He said, come back. We did. He ghosted us then. And so
And then he put his boss on the show.
the podcast.
So
Yeah.
she had to do the dad joke.
Yeah.
Did you guys make her do 2 of them?
We
should have.
Wow. That's
We
okay.
should have.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, that's right. Is it? Because that year sucked. Anyway.
Well, I've always I've worked so many jobs. Like I've just mentioned the printing jobs, but I've worked more than that too, but we won't get into it. But the job I've always wanted to have is to clean mirrors because I could really see myself doing that.
Nice. That was a good segue. You crushed it.
She did it.
That was
Right
good.
on. Thank you
Good.
guys.
She
Nice.
obviously listens to our podcast.
I guess.
I sure do.
Yeah, you can tell. No, that was great. That was great. So, I don't know if I've shared with you guys yet, but my oldest niece, recently had her second child. Yeah, she had a baby.
Nice.
Yeah, I knew she had it in her. All right.
I was about to say
This makes-
congratulations, great uncle Josiah.
Yeah, it'd be my. How many great nieces and nephews do I have? 3. Oh, this will be my 4th. So, yeah, I'm getting old. How about
That's
that?
funny.
They just
Well,
keep coming.
It also helps that you have 5 siblings and
I have
4 siblings.
I have 3 older sisters.
And then 3. Okay. I'm going to stop there. And then you married into a massive family.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Yeah.
My wife's father is one of 12 children, and so anytime there's a Robertson get together, there's no such thing as like a small gathering.
Yeah.
Because there's like 40 people in the house, and
That sounds really awesome.
it's a lot of fun until they're like, okay, we got to take a picture. It's like, dude, we had this same exact get together last month. But I digress. Huge family, love them all. They're fantastic. So okay, we're gonna get into the magic questions. You know what they are because you listen to the show, so I don't have to explain myself. This is fun. You don't have to do any
Insert the Disney
exposition.
bumper.
But you
That's
do have to sing some type of a intro. So
You have to sing an intro.
magic questions.
That was good.
Do you do the one? Do you do the one for the main event?
Yes, he
with
does
the
all of them.
gongs
Pretty
and-
much.
Yeah, he does all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so cool.
Main event. Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here. We've talked about quite a bit as far as work history goes. Let me ask you this. Throughout your tenure in this business, in this industry, how important has mentoring and those kinds of relationships been to you? Do you have people that either personally or people in the industry that you listen to or kind of glean from? Are there specific people that you can think like, well, I've really learned a lot from them and they've really helped shape me on this journey? And how important have those kind of dynamics been as you've been going along?
I would say there's not one person in particular,
Sure.
but I've never been afraid to, if you will, bother people and ask questions. Like you guys know from experience, I've been bothering you for about a year now, specifically Travis,
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's just been so many people that were willing to share what they know, just little tricks and different things. But I do feel like, sadly, I had to pull it out of people. I think a lot of people try to protect their secret knowledge, and
Sure.
that's the opposite of what I think it should be like. So that's what I'm trying to promote, is an inclusive place for everyone to be able to thrive in the print industry.
Yeah, that is an interesting mindset that I think, I think we're all familiar with it in some industry or another, whether it's this one or one in the past. I think that's one of the things that when I got into the e-commerce space, specifically starting with Amazon, that I noticed was different, because a lot of Amazon sellers were very happy to share at least how to get started and, here's what you do. Because we talk about this all the time, because we are presenting information for people to consume for free. And there's a mindset that would say, to your point, why are you letting everyone in on these secrets, or why are you letting people in on the recipe? You should maybe tell them some, not all. Like my sister, who's from the South, when she gives a recipe, she leaves out one key ingredient, so it's not quite as good as the one she makes. You know what I mean? So, but that mindset's crazy to me, because the reality is that you can give information all day, but the percentage of people who will actually take that information and do something with it is so infinitesimally small
It's the willingness.
that you're really not if they take action, great. They still have a journey ahead, and we can still be there to help them. But a lot of people will listen to it, think it sounds awesome, and then not act on it. And so it just depends on who's actually going to get off the couch and start moving that rock up the hill, So
And then it just becomes someone that you can, eventually that person will be someone you can count on as well. It's not just a one-way street. That's why collaboration.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's you don't want the industry to just end when everyone in the current generation dies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
from a legacy standpoint, you always have to be, and this is true in any kind of facet of life, you always have to be willing to raise up the next generation or the next person, because you want the thing that you loved and you've given your life to continue after you're gone. So it just makes sense that way. So I think people really have to kind of shift that paradigm if they are in that space of like, I'm not going to give away the secret recipe or whatever.
Or if you
looks
have like a young kid join your team, like don't treat them like they're a young kid. Treat them like, they're as old as you are, and let them be part of the team and teach them. Like, don't keep them out just because you think they don't know anything.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, that's all good. Let me throw out another question for you. So this is kind of a version of one of our magic questions, but it's specific to you because I know some of the jobs that you've done in the past. And so the question that we usually ask is like, tell us about a failure that happened in one of your businesses. And I want to kind of throw a little caveat on that and a little curveball. Like, I want to specifically limit that to like a customer interaction, like you delivered something that was not cool, or, you know, tell us about a time, and then how did you handle that? What was the remedy that you put into place for that customer?
Okay. So I think that there's not necessarily a specific situation, but things go wrong. A machine malfunctions.
Well, like at Big Frog, somebody comes in and they're like, "Oh, I'm so excited to see my thing. Oh my gosh, that is not what I ordered," or "You spelled my name wrong," or, you know, or whatever. Surely that happens
all the time.
Yeah,
sadly,
yeah,
and just because we're humans.
Yeah. So what do you do in those situations?
I always just tell the truth. So like, if something went wrong, oh my gosh, we spelled that incorrectly. How do you spell it? Let me fix that for you right now. Or, hey, you know what? Let me give you an update on your order. The material didn't come in because we didn't order it quick enough. And so it's not here yet. We're not going to be able to meet your deadline. Yeah. Just always being honest, because I've noticed, like, for some reason, people like to just make up a story and blame it on somebody else. And I'm like, no, like, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. So that way, when it's fixed, you'll just be part of the plan. Collaboration again, like you don't have to be out of the loop. If something's not correct with your order, you're going to know exactly why.
Yeah. On Thursday, someone ordered a tumbler that we were producing, and our tech turned it the wrong way. And I showed you guys when you came, you know, when I was back there. And unfortunately, that was the last of that color that we had. So we had to immediately order it, and I had to send an email to the Etsy. I could have just been quiet and let them contact me, but I was proactive. And I emailed them and said, "Hey, look, this is exactly what happened. Our tech turned it the wrong way, but we don't have any more." So I had to immediately order. We're supposed to get them on Monday. Well, as soon as we get it, we'll ship it. And so we were able to get it today. She did ask me this morning for an update, and I said, "Hey, it's supposed to come in. You know, UPS says it's going to be here. If it comes in, we'll get it out today." And so when we were able to get it out today, I was able to like email her one more time and say, "Hey, we got it out today. So excited. Thank you so much for your patience." Yeah. And she's a happy customer. You know, to your point.
And I think they also kind of like knowing behind the scenes what's going on. I think it's interesting to them. Like Hector, he works at a shop where the showroom people can come in. Like if there's something weird going on and the sales people are having a hard time, Hector will pop his head out and be like, "Hey, come with me in the back. I'll show you exactly what's going on." And then they're like mind blown, and then it takes away all of their anxiety and like frustration, and they get to understand what goes into it. So like you guys having production going on in your showroom area, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's really great. It gives customers a chance to see that these things don't just come out of nowhere.
Yeah. I do wish we had a table to sit at with our customers, though.
Like an actual consultation area.
But yes, I digress.
Anyway. Yeah, totally. No, I think being truthful and vulnerable to an extent as the business owner or the production or whatever. Because I remember training people, whether, you know, I would manage people when I worked for Verizon, and with What For Apparel was overseeing a lot of stuff. And I would tell all of the people that worked for me or worked on the shift that I was managing that if something goes wrong, just own it, because you're going to piss me off if you try to tell me a story about why it didn't happen and you keep trying to shift the blame. Then I'm going to be mad. If you just own it, I'll be like, "Hey man, okay, cool. We all make mistakes. I've done that before. I've burned thousands of mugs. I've ruined thousands of t-shirts. I've done it all." Yep. Completely understand. But when you try and kind of skirt responsibility, that's when I'm going to have a problem with you. And then we'll have a separate conversation about that issue. So yeah, being upfront and honest is definitely the best solution.
Accountability is very precious. Yeah. It's a commodity.
Yep. 100%. So the last question, which I'm sure you know what this is going to be because you listened to the show and you probably have taken time to think about your answer.
Maybe I can even guess what it is.
I bet you could.
But you say it, though.
Could. I will.
Okay.
This is our, crystal ball question. So go ahead and, put on the turban if you have one, which you don't. But hypothetically speaking, you could. And tell us, what do you think the future of print on demand is going to be? What's that look like, do you think?
The future of print on demand is definitely the youth. which is really exciting because right now print on demand and equipment associated with print on demand is very accessible in the community. So you can go to your local library and access a lot of different equipment. So just look it up and see what's available. There's 3D printers, sewing machines, engravers, sublimation, and the list goes on. There's even cool storefronts. Like there's a place in downtown Littleton called Playforge, and they're they specialize in selling like role-playing games, so like Dungeons and Dragons and other things like that. And they sell like toys, but they also have a maker space, so you can go in and collaborate with the shop owners and get something produced, and they do workshops for kids. So I think that the future of print on demand is just educating and teaching these kids that have access to technology that they can also use really great equipment, machines, and tools to make their visions come to life, and that will just pour into the community as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. I like that answer.
Unique answer. I haven't heard that one before.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for before we wrap up, tell people where they can find Kait's collabs and all that kind of stuff on, you said you have TikTok and Instagram, so go ahead and let everyone know where to find you, and then we'll wrap up and you'll get to hear me do my stream of consciousness that I do at every closing of the show.
Nice.
All right.
So you can find me on Instagram. It's Kait's Collabs, so it's K the number 8 and then S collabs, and then that's the same for TikTok. I have a website too, kaitscollabs.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Kaitlyn Lane, in case you wanted to see, like my resume and all of that, in case you're considering hiring me to help out in your shop at some point. By the way, if you're local here in Colorado, you'll probably receive an email from me because I have a really intense spreadsheet laid out where I will be contacting people. So I look forward to reaching out to you. If you hear this, you might have me bug you because I'm really good at that.
Nice. All those links will obviously be in the show notes as well. So you don't wreck writing those down.
Yeah, don't
drive into
text
something.
And drive and get on your web browser or anything like that. So, but again, like I was saying, thanks for taking time for coming and chatting with us and sitting down and kind of sharing your story, your experience, and kind of talking.
How long
about
was the drive? 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Yeah.
So it wasn't a quick.
No, but I like traveling. It's nice.
Okay, good.
Awesome. That's good. Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing. Awesome. So thank you guys for listening to the show. If you have questions for Kaitlyn, are you in the Facebook group?
I am.
She
is
on
the Facebook group.
So if you have questions for her, if you're local in Colorado and you want to hire her to help at your shop, that's another way you can contact her. It's printondemancast.com/Facebook is where you can go to join that community and conversation. If you have a question for Kait, you can ask it there, and I'm sure she'll be happy to respond and add you to her spreadsheet. So she'll bug you and follow up and see if you've implemented the advice that she gives you. But yeah, again, printondemancast.com/Facebook is where you can go for that. We're also on Instagram, printondemancast.com/Instagram, and printondemancast.com/YouTube as well. And if you just want more about the show in general, you can just go to printondemancast.com and be sure to sign up for the email list that is there. We do a weekly blog every Wednesday. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to bother you, but we will give you an extra dad joke during the week, which is just another high point to get you through that last half of that work week that you have. So be sure to subscribe to that as well. And there you can find printondemancast.com/shop. Grab a t-shirt like Travis is wearing right now, like Kaitlyn mentioned so seamlessly in the course of this interview that we did not actually plan on doing, but we will have to give her some kind of cut if that shirt sells in the next week because she did such a good job of telling people to go buy it. So printondemancast.com/shop is where you can go for that and support the show. As always, wherever there are podcasts, the Podcast is there for you. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Google, Anchor. There's probably a myriad of others that I don't even know exist, but we're probably on them. So give us a shot there as well. But if you happen to be listening to this show on the Apple Podcast app, do us a favor and leave us a review. Let us know what you think of the show, your favorite dad joke, favorite segment, favorite guests, or what you would like to hear from us on future episodes. That does two things. It makes us feel really good about ourselves, which is point number one. But point number two, and more importantly, actually, to the life of this show, is it helps the algorithm and get this information in front of the people that need to see it the most. And to that end, if you know someone that would enjoy Kaitlyn's story, her history, or someone that has a shop that could use her assistance, you can share this link, text it, put it on Facebook, email it, whatever you do, however you share the show. We are super grateful for you doing that. So, Travis, anything else?
I think you did it all, buddy.
I think so. Not in one breath, though, because I would have died. But that being said, we're super excited to be back with you guys again next week. So, for Travis, for Kaitlyn, for Hector, who's off camera but's been here the entire time, being a champ, being the director, the producer, giving her direction, giving us all inspiration. Hector, thank you. And for myself, Josiah, we'll see you next time right here on the Print on Demand cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe, thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you've got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.